we're going to go ahead and jump on over to our next topic, and that is going to be what is going on in the UMC, the United Methodist Church. So just to give you a little background on this, if you're not familiar, so United Methodist Church, denomination that really grew out of the first Great Awakening in the 1700s in America with John Wesley and his brother Charles Wesley, the hymn writer, beautiful hymns. Some good sermons coming from John Wesley. Well, I had some secondary disagreements with him, especially on the full sanctification that he talked about, and obviously is overwhelmingly biased towards Arminianism and things of that nature. I'll have some secondary disagreements with him, but overall, the original intent of the Wesley brothers, I'm not going to say was absolutely evil or wrong or a false gospel or anything like that. Now, what the United Methodist Church is today is far and away a complete aberration from what it originally started out to be. It's not a church anymore. They are progressive Christians. I mean, it all started when you start allowing women to be pastors, and then that always leads, like with the exception of the Pentecostal denominations for some reason, but that always leads to look at the Methodists, look at Episcopals or Episcopalians, look at the Church in England, look at you name it. Presbyterians. As soon as you start allowing female, not all Presbyterians, by the way, not all Lutherans, by the way, there are some solid remnants there, but when you start allowing women pastors, every single time it looks like 30 to 50 years down the road, they're affirming LGBTQ. They are putting them in the pulpit, things of that nature, and they just stop listening. This is the biggest one. They stop viewing the Bible as authoritative. They view it more like it's suggestions and guidelines. The UMC, long story short, some time ago had a huge split where basically they were trying to become ultra progressive. The only thing standing in their way were the conservative churches in the UMC. And finally, they were like, you know what? We're going to do a split. And the UMC retained control and became ultra progressive. The ones that left, most of them formed, I believe it's called the Global Methodist Church now or something like that. Anyways, they split off. They got their own thing, and they're a little bit more conservative side of Methodism. And the UMC, because of that, so many churches left, thousands upon thousands of churches left. They're in a lot of hot water. And this is what happens when you, once again, call yourself a church, but you don't even view the Bible as being authoritative at all. So let's go ahead and jump into this article a little bit and just read. It says, a bishop of the United Methodist Church has sounded the alarm on the denomination's current funding issues, declaring that it is a financial house on fire. The board of the UMC General Council on Finance and Administration held its final gathering for the year last week to discuss various funding matters. The GCFA board president, Bishop David Graves, told those gathered that the mainline Protestant denomination is facing major financial challenges. The church's financial house is on fire, Graves said, as quoted by the UMC News. My intent is not to create fear, but to address the reality with honesty and urgency. Well, yeah, when you once again have a progressive denomination that doesn't view the Bible authoritative at all in any means, then you obviously aren't going to get people who really care to give to your church, because, supporting those who shepherd you is something that we see in the Bible. But if you don't view the Bible as actually telling you what to do in your everyday life, of course, you're not going to listen to it. No, I'm going to keep that. That's my money. That's probably the intent on what's going on over there right now. It goes on to say, when a house is on fire, the first thing you do is discuss what matters most. For us, it is people, mission, and ministry. That means every church and conference is doing their part through opportunement giving. That's a word that I have not heard before. Anyways, not because of obligation alone, but because ministry depends on it. Christian Post reached out to UMC Council, and this is what they got back with them on. It said the spokesperson told CP that last year, UMC General Conference reduced our overall church budget by more than 40%, and Grave remarked that was part of an earnest conversation between board members about anticipated funding requests. The UM newsletter attributed the crisis to combined factors of a poor economy. It's really not that poor. Inflation is crazy, but in my opinion, it seems like it's getting better. and the exodus of several thousand churches in recent years due to the internal denomination debate over LGBT issues. Yeah, that was the mass exodus that we were talking about. Long story short, it goes through a bunch of numbers and discusses this. Honestly, I don't see the UMC lasting very much longer. And praise God for that, if that is the case. Last thing we need is another crazy, ridiculous, liberal denomination that is progressive and does not view the Bible as actually holding authority over people's lives. Plain and simple. I like what Jack said here. Jack said judgment must begin at the house of God. God is cleaning houses everywhere. He's exposing and closing the unfaithful churches. And I really, Jack, I really hope that is what is happening here, that the UMC just folds under. It is not what it originally sought out to be. Nowhere even close. I can't even imagine what the Wesley brothers would say today if they could see this. Once again, I got a lot of secondary disagreements when it comes to my Methodist brothers and sisters, but the UMC side of those, and I got some friends that, are part of the split churches in that global Methodist movement. I got to know the name of that denomination at some point. I can't remember what they ended up calling it. I think it was the GMC. I can't remember. But the UMC completely lost and gone. And praise God if they shut down. Praise God if they shut down. You don't need churches like that, because that church ain't a church.